Yes, my name is Alia Ettienne. I am a performer, facilitator, spoken word person. And today I'm going to be leading a visual arts / creative writing workshop. And after that, we're going to hear one of my pieces. So what I would love to start with is making sure, even if I can't see everyone, that you're comfy, that your sitting bones, AKA your butt, is nice, comfortable, cushioned if it can be. Nice pulled up back. Where are your shoulders? Most of us actually have our shoulders really high up, so it's nice to remind ourselves to drop them. All right. So let's take 3 breaths at your own pace. Nice deep breaths. Start from the belly, inflate the belly. Exhale through the mouth. Sometimes we realize that we haven't had a nice deep breath throughout our body in a while, so take that time. Sometimes a sound comes out. Sometimes it's a blatant yawn. Know that that means you're just doing it right. Lovely. So I'm going to shorten this piece for the sake of the workshop. But what I would love to do is a 3-point meditation to kind of get us where we would like to be, kind of drop some anxieties, because I know some folks, when they're coming into workshops, they're like, what am I supposed to do? So we want to bring a calm. Got our breaths in, nice and deep. And I'm going to guide you through this meditation. Pay attention to our posture, what's curled over, what's high, what's low. Sometimes you move around, feel all those little cracks if there are. And so you are going to have your left hand or right hand, whichever is comfortable for you. And the first finger we are going to focus on is our thumb. And we're going to hold our thumb between 2 fingers. And we're going to take a nice deep inhale for 3. Hold it for 4. And then breathe out for 3. I'm going to guide you. Again, with our hand, we're holding our finger. And in, 2, 3. Hold that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let it go. 1, 2, 3. We'll move on to your middle finger. Hold on to that between 2 fingers. And inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3. Now, our third breath, we're going to be on our pinky. And we're going to inhale. 1, 2, 3. And then exhale. 1, 2, 3. Now let's go in again. 1, 2, 3. Hold that for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale. 1, 2, 3. Now you can keep your eyes closed if you like for an extra second. Slowly open them. Slowly come back to your normalized breath in whatever pace that may be. And give yourself that second to really sit with where the breath is. All of a sudden you start feeling blood flow and little tingles. Enjoy reconnecting for that second. Nice. And now that we have our breath in check, we're going to get into some of the creative, fun aspects. So as mentioned in my little intro thingy, I work in creative wellness, and my workshop, Chill and Do Art, is based in raising awareness and creating access. So even with that 3-point breath exercise, collectively, it might be less than a minute, but you already feel a little bit different, a little bit lighter. So I'm always trying to introduce things like that to folks. I'm going to do something really short before we actually start the visual and creative writing component. Now, I'm working in a notebook. You can work in whatever you like, loose leaf paper, things like that. Pen, pencil, eraser. I have a sharpener because sometimes things happen. And then I also have some pencil crayons with me on the side. So again, we're going to pay attention to our breathing. And instead of counting, we're going to slowly close our eyes again. And in your own time, take 3 nice big breaths. Again, yawn if you need to. Make sure your shoulders are nice and dropped. How are your sitting bones? And you are going to focus on a joyful moment. A moment that felt almost like effortless fun. This can be as a child on a playground, on your favorite piece, whether it be a jungle gym. I'm thinking it could be when you're older and your Bluetooth finally connects to your phone and like you finally hear those first few notes of your favorite song. Give us the visual. Take your time. What's that moment? Is it a spark, like fleeting? Is it someone said something gorgeous? What is that feeling? And let's also see what it looked like in this space for you. Were you climbing something? Were you sitting down? As we're recounting this moment, I want you to take in color in this scene. Are there reds? Are there blues? Are there greens? Are you outside? Where's the light? Now, I want you to look for either a circle or something round in this setting. A wheel, a ball, a button. Let's take a second to look at these 2 things. What colors are coming up for you? And what is round? What is circular? A sphere. And we're going to take a few seconds in that moment. I'm going to count backwards from 10, and then you're going to slowly open your eyes. We will continue. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly open up to your own turn. Now feel free to reply either over the audio or in this chat. Has anyone in the space right now heard or participated in mind mapping and how that works? If you want to raise a hand or put a smiley up, you can do that as well. But I always like to see who's mind mapped before. If you haven't, let's say, what are the reactions? If you haven't, we're going to do the shocked emoji. Nice. Thank you, Jane. So what's great about mind maps is you're able to get a lot of the, let's say, random. Nice. No, that's Paru. Great name. But yes, they are actually very helpful for folks, to be honest, myself included, who feel somewhat intimidated by the idea of having to write a full paragraph every single time. Depending on how tough the task is, I say, well, I can't spell that. You know what? Let me just come back to it. And you're not going to get as much done if you try to make too many excuses. So mind maps are a way of reconnecting all of these little jumbled thoughts, taking what you would like, and then moving forward with whatever idea. So I want to focus back to what you saw in this joyful scene, our spheres, our round, our circles. And if you're on a loose leaf of paper, I'm okay with ripping out of my sketchbook. If not, you're just going to divide your paper, I guess, in pencil, roughly in half. I'm going to fold this way. Does not have to be perfect at all. The point is just to have two pieces. Now we're going to focus on one half of our sheet over here. I'm going to bring you a little closer. So what we're going to do is our own mind map about exactly what happened in this scene, in this piece, in this visual, in this moment that we all took in. You're going to be good. So in the middle of your one half, you are going to write your name and joy. So say, for example, my name is Alia. I'm going to write Alia's joy. I'm going to put an exclamation mark. If you like, you can just put a little circle around your name. So again, this is kind of what our aim is. Right here on our half, I'm going to put a little circle around my name. And so that way I differentiate that from anything else I'm talking about. All right. First things first, we thought about color. So if you do have pens, crayons, markers, whatever form of coloring things that you have, I want you to look at this palette that you have and choose one color that you feel was dominant. One color that you feel really reflected the overall thought process of what was happening. So for me, I am going to do a type of blue. So I've got my pencil crayons with me. I like this piece right here. What is it called? It's called True Blue. Whoa. It's a creative name. So now that you have your color out and you probably have whichever writing utensil, what we're going to do is we're literally going to start mapping out this scene. And all it has to be are phrases, words, sometimes even a symbol. And the goal is to try to get as much out of this scene and as much info as you can. So move with me. Know that what you're doing is your individual work. It's all about creative expression. You feel yourself after. And also, this is a great way to write a grocery list. Practicality. Okay, so when I'm mind mapping, I love the addition of color because it kind of makes me feel like I'm solely drawing, even though I'm actually working on something that may take me weeks. I'm able to give myself some false fun, let's say. So I'm starting with my little Alia's Joy piece here. And my joy piece is definitely when I'm thinking about a song and I'm getting ready, I'm like, man, that song pops into my head and I really, really want to hear it. And I finally sit down on transit and I put it on. And those first few notes, depending on if it's like a banger, you know what I mean? You're trying to convince yourself that you want to go out. That's what's going to be on my mind for my mind map. And so what I'm going to be doing is mind mapping alongside you for a few minutes. And that way we're working together and different things come up. You'll be surprised. So again, let's start with giving you leeway. You've taken your breath. You feel good. You're connected. So when I'm doing my mind maps, I'm thinking, what's the first thing that comes up to me? Bluetooth. Aha. So I'm going to do my arrow from outside, and I'm going to write Bluetooth. Luckily for you all, no one's seeing yours, so you don't have to worry about the spelling. I'm just going to put that one out there. Alrighty. So what's coming up for me? Bluetooth. What else is coming up for me? Transit. What else comes up? Noises, announcements. I said the thing about spelling and then I said announcements. All right. And in the subject of what's around, let's see. Were there other people on the bus? Let's see, coat buttons. Wheels. Let's see. rings. Hoop earrings. So this is what my mind map is looking like so far. And so you're seeing I have this little piece going on in the middle that is almost like our title, pretty much, where our focus is what we're talking about. And we've got these little arrows telling us these little points, what we saw, what was happening. What did it smell like? So, pretty good, lovely. Let's take 1 full minute, solely just to focus on all of the random, interesting things that have happened in your moment. And feel free to do another 3-point or even just one nice deep breath and take yourself back into that moment of joy and see what else you can pick up on. There's no limit at all, right? So yeah, let's do 1 full minute. I'll be right here. If anyone wants to type in the chat or has questions as well. Just a few more seconds. In fact, let's add another minute. Let's add 1 more minute to that. So this is where I'm at so far. Just a quick update. And so once you have a lot more thoughts going on, you'll notice, oh no, you feel a little cramped. Sometimes one idea will spark another while you're looking at your map and while you're working. So one thing that I love to do and love to show folks with mind maps is how you can expand this mind map and make sure that you get as much info as possible. So when a thought connects, instead of having the arrow come straight directly out of my title, I will add it to, say, a piece that I've already brought up or a point that's already there. So say music. Music, okay. Now I'm thinking of what's round. There are very round musical notes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my arrow coming out and I'm going to draw whatever note that may be that I think of. So, for example, I would be thinking of maybe a whole note. Bluetooth. Oh, headphones. So, Remember, we're focusing on rounds, we're focusing on colors and what comes out of that. Glasses, it's a cool one. Alrighty. So take a few seconds, wrap up your mind map, and we'll go from there. And again, if you have more ideas while you're working, even while I'm speaking, feel free to just jot them down. That's what it's for. The ideas flow a little bit easier when you're just trying to get them in a short form. So feel free to let me know either over audio or in the chat how you feel like things are going for you. And also if you would like any clarification. So I'm always open to that. So at least for myself, I'm pretty done my mind map. So I was talking about my moment on the bus. What do I have got here on Alia's Joy? What's round? Eyes. Eyes are round. Music, whole notes. That's there. So rings and stones, they can be round. My music, so I'm thinking Bluetooth. I'm thinking headphones. Coat buttons. So these are some things that came up for me as far as my scene. And you may have even had more because you're not chatting. So once you feel like you've kind of gotten enough, you're going to pick up your color that you chose. And you're going to go in and color in a few words, phrases, images that you feel really stand out to you the most, or that you feel really capture what you would like folks to know or folks to see. So for myself, when I'm thinking of my joyful moment, I'm thinking of music is the big one. So music and the whole note. I'm thinking eyes because of my pupils, and I'm like, woo, my music is so awesome. And I'm thinking of my hoop earrings, to be honest with you, because those are like my running out of the house staple. So I know there was probably a moment where I tried to put my headphones on, and then there was the mask, and then there was the big earrings, and it was a moment, which build up to this joy when I'm finally done and I get to hear the song. So I've highlighted those really lightly in my blue. And now I'm going to go in and literally color. So say, for example, all of my arrows. I may want to outline those. I may want to shape them in. So I love doing things like that. Sometimes you may want to just color the one line in. Or sometimes solely the arrow. Your preference is your preference. Yay. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Let's see. This is what my piece is looking like. It's where I'm at in my mind map. You can see these are the ones I've highlighted right here. You can see my little blue arrows coming out. And again, sometimes you can color a full arrow. You can say, okay, well, we're coloring a line. You see for here, I didn't even write the word I just drew one out because it's a little bit easier sometimes. So again, with this, if you really wanted to, you could also full out write down in a short paragraph exactly what happened, which is really, really nice. And we've only used a few minutes. So that is a gorgeous way of really thinking about what was happening in that scene and almost sitting in your joy for that moment. So now that we've used probably the majority of your one side, we're going to move on to the other. And on the other side of your paper, you're going to take your writing utensil. And you're going to do another circle roughly in the middle. I said, not perfect. And once you've got your circle going in the middle, it is up to you. So right on the opposite side of this page, you have a whole bunch of notes and ideas and shapes and maybe even phrases that you can now use to go from this circle to filling up, at the very least, half of the page. So again, I'm moving with you, but your information and what you're working on is your work. So always hold that here. Okay. So you've got your circle. Here's mine right here, in the middle of my page. I am going to start. What's round? Did I say that was round? The eye. I like drawing eyes. So I'm going to take the circle. I'm going to kind of make this eye here. Drawing this eye. As you're looking at your mind map and drawing, depending on the size of your circle, you may want to draw one big sunflower. You may have one big eye right now, like I have on the one side. And again, we are working through. You've already given yourself so many points and so many guides. And so when you're feeling stumped or what's going on here, not only do you have your mind map, you also have your color to pull inspiration from. So I can even look at this as, that's blue. Ocean is blue, sky is blue. You have a blue pair of shoes. So really just allowing yourself to dip into your memory and into these positive thoughts and write them down, draw them down, if you will. Is this turning into a fish? So after I've got my eye, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to draw just an eye, so what can I do? Why don't I'm going to say it's a her. because I feel like this is a little bit reflective of self right now on my joy. You know what? My nose is fun and round. So that's one I didn't think of before. So I will put out there, your eraser is your friend. Your eraser is a lovely, lovely friend in terms of, yeah, sometimes those curves don't work out too well, or things feel a little bit lopsided in a way that may be frustrating for you. You can always tweak. So let me think. I'm gonna have some expression on the face. The whole thing going here. And again, feel free to check in. If you're in the chat, if you want to ask any extra questions. But I do want to just have you take the time to work on what you're doing. A little update on me. I've actually got a whole little face going here from the eye that I started. And so I'm wondering now, what else can I do? Is this a character? How is she feeling? Is she feeling a certain way? You specifically have may had an object. What is the texture of that object? Does it bounce? Is it heavy? All of those things can come into play now. Hmm. Instead of music, and I think I might do some musical notes right here. Like that. So here's where I am right now. And again, take your time, really get into it. Got my mind map that I finished. So on this side where I had drawn my eye, so I'm like, hey, it's a face now, I guess, nose and mouth. It's a lot of teeth, because why not? Um, Added some musical notes in here because that was something that I put on my mind map. And so from there, I'm going to give this, yes, a minute or two. Finish up drawing. If there's any things that maybe float in the background that may be round, are there other people? Feel free to start getting into all of that. Inside or outside, plants, all of those types of things. So let's give that maybe another 2-3 minutes. I am going to be off video for 2 minutes, but I still want you to keep going. And if you do start feeling tense, or I don't know what to do, or I should be adding more, take that second, check in with your shoulders and your sitting bones, and take that nice deep breath. Exhale nice and slow, and then continue. All right, I'll be right back. We have a message in the chat. Enjoying the imaginations and the spark of memory around joy. Yes. And I will say, one thing I try to do in workshops, especially when you're tapping into wellness and memories, is be caring and be safe. Unfortunately, I think that it is common to maybe think, okay, we're deep emotion and it's raw and it's great, but I don't take all of you home personally, right? I don't pull your sheets up, so I don't know what you may be feeling when you walk away. And so I would love if you were focused on that joyful moment and color and gorgeous round shapes. If you do have your color still around, feel free to start adding that pop of color wherever you like. For myself, I'll show you again. This is where I've gotten as far as my little cartoon thing. I started off with the eye from my mind map, added 1 or 2 facial features, and then I've got the music notes around there. So I'm going to add a bit of color. For time, am I able to go all the way till 2 o'clock? Yay, lovely. So we're great on time for that. So again, take your time, add in these spots of colors for a moment. Once you feel like, hey, you know what, I picked green, but I kind of want to add something else, feel free. Now you're bringing everything to life, this joyful moment and this focus. So we'll take a minute or two to add a bit of color. So let's see. Blue here. One thing I love to talk to folks about, especially when I'm using color specifically, is shading. So for example, if I would want to go in and color this eye this way, it may take me a while, right? If I was going in nice and slow like that. So sometimes I just do one of these. And then I just clean up around there. We're we're good to go. I want to outline this. So again, not too much pressure on perfection or how great the lines look. Just adding in some specks of color. Now, I've used a lot of blue. I've mentioned green. I'm going to bring a green in. Ooh, let's see how this goes. Into it, into it. Mm-hmm. You know what? I don't want green teeth, so I'll do green. I'll do green lips instead. And so again, when I'm trying to add color, and I'm not trying to take oodles of time, I'll outline in a color, and then I'll just do a quick shade in. Sometimes I do this where if I'm in the middle of an art workshop and they say, okay, well, we have a few minutes to finish up, I don't want to forget the color I was using. And I do this while I'm painting as well. So I'll do a little bit of shading in here. So I know exactly where I want the color to be. And that way, if I want to come back to that, or I figure, oh, I have another minute or two, I can go back and fill it in. And if not, it still has a little bit of color. So I'm going to do this one green as well. Okay. Also, if anyone would like to share what they've worked on, again, feel free to do that in whichever way you are comfortable. This is great. Here. So take another minute to finish up. Oh, can I see? Oh, that looked great. Thank you so much. That's great. Thank you. And yes, I'm assuming that you can probably email the festival as well if you really want to share stuff. Does anyone else want to share? Or I think you can add things to the chat as well. Feel free. I just want to offer that moment to folks. And if you're still coloring, adding things, that's okay. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate that. I actually want to color in this eye really quick. So this is where I'm at. I got here. Here's my mind map on the one side. Here's my eye and my musical notes on the other. So can I ask, Kevin, because I'm inquiring, you don't have to tell us what your joyful moment was, but can you give us maybe one sentence about what you ended up drawing?
Sure. I could share as the notification comes right in. I wrote this story of salsa dancing with a partner. And I also, I'm sort of, I like words. So you mentioned you could write on the other side. So I said our hands were sweaty. We kept grasping for connection, feeling the fingers. We were timing and moving in circles. And then I realized it was many things. So it followed circles in many ways. There's people there watching. There is focusing on the moment. I realized I was drawing stick stuff, so I changed the stick stuff to circle stuff because I started with circles. And it ended up being a flower with just different things.
That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. On a personal note, I would love to see that. That is the difference between, say, guiding and when you do these really fun paint nights and everyone's just got like a cool version of their sunset. But when you're trying to layer over meditation and art and writing, I've noticed a lot of different juices start flowing. So thank you. Really appreciate that. And I love, is that a mask behind you?
It is, yes. It's a Zouli map from Côte d'Ivoire.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
That's gorgeous. All righty. So now that we've kind of finished up our activity, what I wanted to do is share a piece with you all, because as I say, I do have strong background in spoken word as well as performance and my whole creative arts side. Alrighty. And I handwrite, so you're gonna see all the notes. Alrighty. Riding on the side, straddling the line, all because you lied, gaslight in the night. Hands are bounded tight, Samsonite, luggage in the mind, slowing down my time, only peace of mind, ain't no peace of mind. Don't care if I'm hurt, just go to work, then cry tonight. Questioning the crime, so sublime, sit and take the time. Eyes are open wide, they don't see the crime, 'cause the life is mine. So this piece has no name yet. And it's very, very fresh. So I like when I do a workshop and we experiment together that I share pieces and work that I'm still experimenting with. And so we're in the same space of working out and newness. So have a piece here. No construction hurt, just the dirt, just the buried hurt. Roots of consequence, stay relentless. Don't regret the work, protect the work. Boss up, I'm whatless, but I'll never deserve this. It's your work. So those are two pieces that I have had in progress. You're always working on flow and wordplay and rhyme when you're doing spoken word. I don't know if I got to ask if anyone works primarily in a field of writing in whatever form. But for myself with spoken word, similar to mind mapping, to be honest, you're able to put a lot of information out there in these sometimes short, but very potent phrases. So I know we have a few minutes. And I wanted to ask again, just if anyone had any questions, if anyone wanted to share what they worked on in the workshop today, just because I feel like we were able to get some leeway. And to be honest, usually when I do a workshop and folks are this quiet, they're kind of really getting into whatever whatever they're working on. And so I take it as a compliment. I will take the time to put in my social media. So my Instagram, nice, they did that for me, is it's underscore. So at it's underscore Alia J. So yes, it's at it's underscore Alia J on Instagram. And then the Instagram for Chill and Do Art is literally Chill and Do Art. And so, sorry?
I have a question for you, Alia, and it's, do you use mind mapping in the construction of your poems? Does one normally support the other, or do you see them as separate practice, your mind mapping work, and Chill and Do Art? Is it separate from your poetry writing, or is there a sort of synergy or connection in how you think about the two?
I will say that the visual arts aspect comes up a lot when I'm writing because of color coding. Everything needs to be color coded for me. So with mind mapping, to be honest, dips more into like my admin type work when I need to write a grant. Right now, I'm mapping out literally the future of Chill and Do Art and how I can have things consistently run. So there have been a lot of mind maps. And I think it's because personally, it's tough. You're almost breaking through a wall of awful if you tell if you tell yourself, I have to have this done and it has to look this way. So if I have to write a proposal, I need a mind map for sure. Any type of granting work, sometimes groceries, if say, for example, I want to have a nice night with my fiance and I'm like, okay, well, I still have a workshop today. How do I plan out getting the groceries and what even groceries I should get? Instead of having all of these things jumbled in one place, I can have them down and make them pink. So that comes in with spoken word. I can actually share this with you. Mind you, see, this is some work mind mapping here. And this is actually what happens when I'm writing pieces. So again, it's sometimes not always one stream of consciousness. Sometimes I've been writing this piece since, date your work, everyone, please. I have been working on this since May 7th, 2021. So it's nice to be able to go back to things and jot pieces down. One of the things I learned really early on, very, very early on with Be Current when I worked with them, was you always have a little notebook. Now we have notes on our phone, so it makes it a little bit easier. But sometimes it's 2 lines that have been going and going all day. And when you finally sit down, you've got it. Because you've given yourself permission to not have it fully done in that moment. You've got those 2 lines, and all of a sudden you have an experience and you open that notebook and you can finish that piece. So that's with spoken word, it usually works more that way. But as far as getting anything, dare I say, technical, admin, budgeting, yes, mind maps for sure.
Thank you so much. Is there any questions or thoughts from the attendees, participants in the room?
Well, I got a very nice note from Kathy. So thank you to Kathy.
Yes, Kathy said she enjoyed the workshop. That's great. You know, what's also coming up for me is the fact as arts administrators or persons working in the arts, we always think about the task. And so the idea of just stopping and being in the moment and just chill, the title of your workshop suggests, is sometimes hard, I think, for arts administrators and persons who are just like, okay, this is the thing, and I have a meeting, and I realize the importance of that. You know, we had conversations this morning about care and about what care looks like and what, you know, being sensitive to our needs as artists and or administrators, artists, organizations look like. And so you've also introduced something really beautiful about stop just stop sometimes and do art or do something else that's not related to the work that we do as arts administrators or organizations supporting artists. So I think for me personally, I want to say thank you for that. Because that's also hard to just be like, I'm gonna spend an hour, I'm gonna breathe through my meditate, and it's actually gonna be benefiting to the work that I do as in the arts or as an arts administrator.
Again, access is always a big one for me. So, you know, being from Afro-Caribbean background, there are some things that simply feel extremely inaccessible. So when folks think meditation, they think they need to have half an hour to do this rather than 2 minutes to settle into this idea and probably come with a whole new fresh mind. So those things are really important, especially as arts administrators who also create that our process is also important, for sure. Thank you.